Story 1. What's happening on my farm? My farm has been in my family's name since 1798. It was built on an Indian burial ground. I know that's always what people say, but I'm 100% serious. All throughout my childhood I've heard stories passed down from my ancestors, stories like our livestock disappearing, names being called from the tree line. You know, the normal ghost stories you get told by the campfire. I always thought they were just that, stories, but something that happened yesterday changed my mind completely. While I was trying to sleep watching Seinfeld, like I always do, the dogs started to go crazy, which is pretty normal, but then I started to hear whimpers as soon as a scream started. It was like no scream I have ever heard. It was high-pitched and low-pitched at the same time. I immediately grabbed my 12 gauge and ran outside as fast as I could, but then everything just went still. No screaming, no barking. Hell, even the cicadas stopped chirping. It was the most terrifying quiet I have ever experienced. I turned on my phone light and started scanning the perimeter of the dog pen when I noticed whispering from the tree line. It was a weird whisper, like it was beckoning me to come closer, but it was in no language I could understand. As any sane person would do, I immediately ran inside and locked the doors and double-checked that the windows were locked. As soon as I got inside, all the noises started again. The cicadas, the dogs, everything was normal. As I went upstairs I had a terrible feeling of being watched and I just couldn't sleep. I haven't slept since then and I'm terrified of what may happen tonight. Someone please tell me what's going on. Story 2. The time I saw my dad talking to a ghost or entity. This happened when I was about 15 in a little town called St. Helens just outside of Portland, Oregon. At the time, our family was really going through some tough obstacles. My dad had been acting very strange, talking to himself and not acting as he normally did for a couple days. His personality would change quite often. At the time he was not diagnosed with schizophrenia. We were trying to get him help. Leading up to the night I had seen this thing conversing with my dad. I had also experienced very strange dreams and it felt like I had been sat on by someone very heavy. I looked and no one was there. My brother had seen something. He called the garbage man on numerous occasions. He said it looked like a bag was over his head and was being sucked into his mouth and eye sockets. It leaned over him and appeared to be very tall. This thing visited him a few times. It was about 2 a.m. and I heard my dad talking to someone or himself. At this point, I had a routine of going and talking with him to calm him. My bedroom had been right next to the kitchen and the bathroom because it was a small house. I walk into the kitchen, which had been lightly lit by the outside lights. First thing I see is the very tall shadow figure in the doorway of the bathroom and my dad standing toe to toe with this massive thing. He's mumbling something, then he says loudly, "Leave me alone." I'm terrified, so I ran right back into my bedroom. My dad's mental state took a turn. It was a struggle for my family to get him help. Eventually, things escalated and my dad was considered a danger to himself and others and was able to get the help he deserved. They did not find drugs in his system and eventually diagnosed him with schizophrenia. I don't know why we saw this thing or what it was. I think it was preying on my dad's weakness. Can people with this mental illness see past the curtains? Since this day that question runs through my head a lot.
Story 3. My friend who passed liked effing with me. Okay, let's start with backstory. One of my sister's best friends who I had known since I was around 11 passed away in a car accident. We only had a 2-year difference in age, so I always hung out with them. I always really looked up to her and admired her for her quick wit and amazing sense of humor. She was a wild partier also, which I definitely grew into myself. As we got older we would party all together as well, and me and her both smoked a lot of weed. I still do. I am a lifer, I am dedicated lol. Anyways, I was 20 when she passed and honestly, losing her affected me really deeply. I have always been someone who has had odd experiences and I feel I am extremely connected spiritually, so I had a feeling she would visit me or show me she was near me in some way. And boy, did she ever. Within days of her passing, she was effing with me. Multiple times she would flicker my lights until I actually yelled for her to quit it and instantly, no flickering. I'd be listening to music and this girl always switched it to her fave songs. But the thing that really got me, she would retrieve my joint butts after I would toss them and bring them back to me lol. Two instances of this are my favorites. One time, I had a friend of mine staying over and we smoked out on my front porch. I walked across my street and tossed it. Me and my friend go upstairs to find my bed sheets drawn back perfectly folded with the butt and a lighter sitting there. My friend nearly shit her pants. The second time, I was at her cousin's house. Her cousin was in the hot tub with 3 other friends and I stayed out and smoked. I went around the house and tossed the butt over the fence. I literally told the girls as I did it that our girl was doing this to me and to wait for it cause she would definitely show it off to them too. I sat for like 5 minutes and got the urge to look down at the table and there it was. All the girls were stunned while I just said my typical, "Girl, I love when you join me for the ganja, lol." I pass by her crash spot twice a day to end from work and blow her a kiss to heaven every time. I love and miss you, babe. Thanks for looking out for me.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.